Yo, what's up? This is Paul in the 619, and I have another interview, a conversation with the community. So, backstage, I have this cool bro from New York. His name is Will. His Instagram is Cup of Comics. I'm so happy that he took the time out for me to interview him. The thing with me is that, everyone that I interview, we don't have the same time zone. So sometimes the scheduling is rough, but you know what? The planets align, and I have my homie backstage. So let's bring him in. Here's Will, Couple Comics. There was a delay on the clapping. I can't click the button. I can't click the button. Panic set in. I was like, oh.
I was like, where is it? I was like, should I say something? I know he said he'll drown me out, but
he's like, I don't hear no coffee. Will, what's up, man? How's it going?
It's going great. What's up? Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here. You hit me up, and I was like, yes, I gotta be on here. Like I've seen your interviews, and it's just, I was like, yeah, man, let's just chill and have a good time. You seem like a really relaxed, cool dude, and I was like, why not? Let's do this.
Well, I try to be that. I know you have right now. You have a series with Naman. You guys are doing the CBC Awards. So entertaining. So people who are watching this, if you guys haven't caught it, where have you been? It is so entertaining. You guys pretty much go through every category from the beginning to the end. So I already interviewed Naman. His interview is going to be coming out relatively soon. I had to get you, Will, on here, man. As soon as I was like, dude, I got to get that guy on.
Thank you.
We're going to jump right into it. I'm going to ask the first question. What are some of your earliest comic book memories?
Oh, nice. And again, thank you for having me. Awesome to be here.
Yeah.
So my venture into comics actually started with action figures, because I remember as a kid I had like all these Marvel action figures, with the kung fu action and the grips and the shield launchers and all that cool stuff. And I was like, oh, these are dope. And the cartoons were on, so that was kind of my first foray. I didn't really do the book thing per se, the comic book thing, until we went to it was like an antique thrift shop, and they had a bunch of comics on a wall. I think they were anywhere between 50 cents to $3 an issue. and I was like looking at them. I was like, oh, these are dope. Like I have the toys. I watched the cartoons.
Yeah,
I was like, I need the source material. I'm pretty sure I wasn't thinking that as a kid, but I was like, oh, this is
yeah.
the next
Yeah,
level.
it matches up. It matches up. Yeah,
Exactly. So I remember they had like a good combination. There was a couple older comics. There was some newer comics. There was some kid comics. So I was like, hey, can I get some comics? And my dad, he was in the military, so he's a little strict, and he was like, sure, but he's like, make sure they're age appropriate, so to speak. So
yeah.
they had some like Wally the Wizard and Care Bear there, right? So I picked those up, and then
Nice.
yeah, and then they had like Secret Wars comics there. So
Yeah,
like the original, they didn't have the black costume one. They have seven, but they had like one. They had most of them except for that one, except for the key
yeah.
one. So I grabbed those. They had like a couple of Hulk comics and Spider-Man stuff. So I grabbed those, and then like I put those like behind the Care Bear and Wally the Wizards, and so
Right.
Count Duckula. I remember there was a Count Duckula there, so I picked those up and I bring them up, and my dad's like, "Oh, okay, cool, a couple comics." He's like, "What you get?" And I'm like, "Care Bears, Wally the Wizard, some Count Duckula," and he's like, "All right, those seem cool, right?" And underneath that, I had all the Marvel books already stacked.
Nice.
Yeah, not that they were bad comics,
Yeah,
but my dad was like very much like, I'm gonna have to check those out, make sure there's nothing inappropriate in them. So anyway, yeah, I ended up buying those, and that was like my first foray into it. Started reading those and like fell in love. Um, cool thing was I liked all of them. The ones I picked up like to be like, let me use these my cover books, like the Wally the Wizards and stuff. I loved those too. Count Duckula was funny. I remember there was Camp Candy, which was John Candy. That was like a Saturday morning cartoon, Camp Candy.
right, right.
Yeah, so they had all those books, and then the one that solidified it and like really had me like, oh, this is my jam was the Secret Wars books, like
Yeah, oh
seeing
yeah.
that the Beyonder bringing in all these characters and them fighting each other, right? And then you got Spidey in the black suit. Back then, when I saw that, because I was used to the red and blue, like that was all the toys, right? Like they made the black suit, but I guess I didn't have it. So the cartoon series, he was always in that red and blue suit. So when he got that symbiotic suit and all that, it was like, oh man, and I was that one issue where he gets it,
Yeah.
uh, but then the rest of the series, he's kind of in that suit. So um, it was just, I mean, it was just that was what brought me into the next level. And then after that, my dad was in the military, so we were going to there was a comic shop, and then there was the military base, which was called the PX or the BX, and they would have books there. So I was going picking them off the racks, going to the comic book shop right off the the base, and because he was in the military, it was like a 20% discount. So I was always going with my dad. I was like, show him the card, show him the card.
Discount. Gotta get
Yeah,
that discount.
exactly. I started mowing the lawn like twice a week, make those extra $7, $5. So just to buy
Oh,
those.
the thing is that you're a military brat. I'm a military brat, so I kind of get it. You know, the reason I got into comics was because of my dad. Um, so my dad was in the Navy. What branch was your dad in?
My dad was in the Air Force. So
Air Force. Okay. So
yeah,
my dad would leave for months at a time, right? And
right.
then he'd come back, and the whole time my mom's like taking care of us. So when my dad would come back to break the ice, he would go through the whole ship, and the sailors, they would buy comic books, read it. Like 5 or 6 guys would read the comic, and then they would throw it in the corner. My dad would gather all of them and bring back a whole stack.
That's nice.
And then when he came home, he'd say, "Here's a stack of comics," and it kind of broke the ice with my dad and I. When he'd come back, because he was kind of like a lot. So
Yeah.
that broke the ice, and then that started my love for comics. But see, so I understand where you're coming from. So I have the same kind of background. Um,
No, that's awesome. Yeah, you're somebody who understands.
Yeah, not for sure. And the thing is that for the people that are in the service out there, thank you for serving. It's not
Yeah.
easy. It's not easy.
It's
Um,
not, yeah. Like you said, my dad used to go away too, and sometimes it was, I think the most ever was like 3 months, but
that's
it
all
could
right.
be, yeah, it could be
You
a
know,
couple of days, couple of weeks, yeah.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So, you're originally from,
From New York, Brooklyn, New York.
yeah,
So, as DJ Links likes to say, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.
yeah. Dude, I
So
met DJ Links. That dude is awesome.
he's a
The
fun.
thing is that when I started YouTube, he was like one of the first guys I ever watched. So I've always been a fan. And then when I got to actually meet him in person, I was like, this guy's dope. So yeah.
Yeah, he's very personable, cool with everybody. He doesn't really, yeah, very cool temperament, like really
Yeah.
chill dude, really cool. We actually have a running joke because he goes to cons, I go to cons,
Yeah.
and we usually see each other not in New York, right? So every time I've hung out with him has been like outside of New York. So I'll see him at like New York Comic Con. I'll say what's up, but he's busy. He's filming or doing whatever, doing the C3 thing. Always busy. So the only time I've ever like had a meal with him or something is outside of New York, like at Heroes Con. So it's like it's kind of a joke with us. It's like, man, we'll never actually hang out in New York.
Well, okay, so you mentioned Heroes Con. So DJ Links, he's connected to Comics Curing Cancer,
Right.
which is definitely a worthwhile cause. Of cancer. Uh,
Yeah.
those guys do some good work, and one of the guys he hangs out is Rob Fatstacks. So the funny thing is with Rob Fatstacks, we're both from the West Coast. He's Northern California, I'm Southern California, but we actually met in Heroes Con and we have the same joke. It's like, dude, we came all the way to the East Coast to meet each other in person. I was like, I know that's not funny.
Right.
Uh,
It's funny how that works out sometimes, but sometimes that's just how it is, how it rolls.
right? Yeah, no. Yeah, I think we talked earlier before we started filming, and that's the cool thing about cons. You get to meet people in the community. I think that's the best part.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
what inspired you to do comic book content on YouTube?
Ah, yes, that. So I started basically around the time of the pandemic. So, yeah, I think a lot of people actually came out of that time period. But yeah, for me, it was just I was so used to going to my LCS and hanging out with the guys there. Like there's guys at the comic shop that I'll spend hours talking to. Like I'll go there after work, or I'll go there in the morning if it's a day off. And there's other guys there. There's the guys who work there, and then there's just guys who just hang out. And I would spend like an hour, 2, sometimes 3 hours just there, just talking, and not only about comics, just talking about the world in general. But a lot of it was comic centric. It was all about
Yeah,
revolved around comics. But it was like such a cool vibe. And then the pandemic strikes, and you're not going to your comic shop. At least here, everything was locked down, so you're not getting to your comic shop. You're not getting your comics. You're not talking to your comic shop owner about what's going on.
yeah,
I think we had talked about this too. Like in my family, I'm like the only comic person. Like my dad likes the movies. My brother's seen some of them, but I'm like the only person in my family that
yeah.
that does the comic thing. So when I bought a book and I read it, it felt like something was missing. It was empty. Um, so I had gone. That's about the time I had also discovered YouTube and the comic content, because I was going on YouTube to like learn how to change, my oil in the car, or find out where the screw is to replace stuff, how to fix this, what new electronic gear was coming out, how to use it. And then I found like a comic community, right? So
Oh yeah, yep.
yeah, so there was a couple of guys back then who I kind of just gravitated to. So there was like Rod the Rican, or Rican in his comics. There was Edwin the comic jabroni.
Yeah, I know all those dudes.
Yeah,
I not personally, but I when you say those names, I'm like, oh, okay, I know who that is.
they were like some of the guys. I think if you were around that time, they were,
Yeah, they were doing it. Yeah,
putting out content. Yeah, so
right.
I had reached out to a couple of those guys, and was just like, hey man, excellent content, whatever. And they were like, yo, if you need a voice or you want to be on the show, whatever, let us know. We're cool to talk, whatever. And so I was like, well, I don't even know where to start. And Edwin was like, man, you just grab a camera and you just hit record, and what comes out comes out. You put it up. Don't even worry about what people think. You're not trying to be the next Spielberg. He's like, just do it. And he's like, the more you do it, it gets easier, it gets better. Like you find what you're doing. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then Rod had me on his channel. He used to do this like up and coming series with all these, new YouTubers. So I did that. And then from there, I just found people, I gravitated to it. And what I found out was that thing that was missing after I read a book was kind of filled. And I was able to talk like, hey man, did you read that new, Spider-Man issue? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or it was like, yeah, it was dope, So that was it. That was the inciting moment. And then from there it kind of evolved. I tried some like mystery boxes, right? So I was doing like that Spider-Man booth and all these other mystery boxes, the Comic Tom stuff.
Oh, you know what, dude? Will, I gotta watch those videos. I gotta go back. I gotta watch those videos you unboxed, because those that was a big thing then. That and the CGC, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing CGC videos. Remember that?
That was those were the moments. Those were the If you were doing an unboxing, or you were doing a CGC. Any CGC unboxing, any mystery box unboxing, those were the things that got you like views and clicks and all that stuff.
All those, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, my biggest viewed video, it's got a couple of thousand watches, is actually a CBCS submission that I did for for autograph authentication for Stan Lee. And I think the reason it's a 2 video series. I think the reason it did well was because I first submitted it and I get back like a blue label with like writing on the cover or something like that. And I was like, no, man, I got this autographed by him. So I had to like resubmit it, like personally talk to a guy over there. I was like, no, I need you to really like send this to your top guy. Like, he needs to so they did. And I could make a 3rd video, because what they did was I resubmitted it. They then certified the signature, right? They were like, oh, it's Stan Lee. But then they left the same grade. They didn't send it for regrading. So
what's up?
Yeah. So the dings it got for having just like writing on the cover and all that was never actually repaired. Like once the autograph was authenticated, then it should have went back for regrading, and then whatever knocks it had for that.
Exactly. Because they marked it down because they said it was just writing. They didn't say it was a legit signature. It's just a legit signature. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I did actually reach out and I said, hey, did you guys ever regrade it? And their response was, oh no, once we authenticated it, we thought you wanted it right back. And I was like, like, you know what?
Yeah, you could get the bump, dude. Let's go.
Yeah. So I could probably resubmit it, maybe have them press it again and get the bump on it. But yeah, it's a book that it went through a lot. And if I ever decide to resubmit it for that bump, that's probably a 3rd video that come out of it. But yeah, that
book it was. What was the book?
It was like ASM 700. So
okay.
It wasn't anything too crazy. But it was signed by Stan at New York Comic Con about, I think it was about 2 2 years before he
You
passed.
gave me
Maybe,
chills, bro.
yeah,
You dropped the name. You name dropped that. I was like, oh, it gave me chills. I thought it was some like random dude. You said no. You said Stan Lee. I was like, oh shit. Well,
yeah,
that's a good deal.
it
That's a
was.
good deal.
That was probably like I definitely fanboyed in that moment. Like I gave him the book and I went to be like, hey, it's a pleasure. Like it should have came out like, hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. I appreciate all the hard work you did and creating these characters. And what came out of my mouth was, hi, you're cool. Like, and he like looked at me like, that happens all the time, man. He's like, so, yeah, he's like, guys will just, and he had like a cool, like, even though he was older, he just had like the cool vibe, like, yep, I've seen that happen before. I know what's happening. Like, and he did it all with like his eyes and his motion. He's like, just relax, calm down. And then when he gave the book back to me, I was like, thank you. I appreciate what you did. And like him just like head nodding and be like, I got you. I know you're not embarrassing yourself right now. This happens all the time. I was like, thank you. And then I
No,
was able to get out.
it's cool when you finally do meet your heroes. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, I know. That's happened to me so many times, and you know what I mean. It's like, you know, you've been a fan for so long, even though you're a grown ass man. In that moment, you think of yourself as like a little kid, or you know what I mean. You kind of
Yep.
revert back,
Mhm.
and that's weird because I did tell my wife. What did I tell my wife? I told her this morning. I told her thank you for letting me be a kid because I thought about I got all these comics and all these toys and play video games, and she lets me
Yeah.
indulge in all that. You know what I mean? And you know, as a man, you know, who collects all this stuff, it just, you know, your childhood doesn't end. You know what I mean? It's like you know, what am I trying to say here? You're an adult with adult money, and you're getting all this stuff that you couldn't afford when you were a little kid.
Right.
Yeah,
It's yeah, you can finally afford those things you always wanted, right? And it's
yeah,
so
no.
cool.
So definitely lucky. Definitely, I definitely grateful. Definitely feel blessed. Yeah, that
Yeah.
I get to do what I get to do, and I get to talk to cool people like you, man. I'm just it's ridiculous. It's
No, I,
ridiculous.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is cool. Like we get to do something that's just like it's chill, and it's really cool because like we're talking now, we're meeting, right? We're hanging out, we're having a good time, and then it just makes it that much cooler when we see each other in person at some event or something, and it's like, oh
Heroes
man,
come in 2 years.
right, and like, but like the same thing, like it's happened with me, like with like a guy like Roscoe, right?
Yeah,
Um, I've met him before and online, and like we've done some stuff, and it's cool, and we have the banter, and then we meet each other in person, and it was like we never had, it was like we never missed a step. It wasn't like, oh, awkward new
yeah,
interaction. No,
exactly.
it's like, oh, what's up, friend? Like, and we hung out. First time I met Roscoe was at Heroes Con, and we hung out for like 3-4 hours. Like it was me and Roscoe just bin diving and hanging out and all this and cool stuff.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was a good time. And then the following year, he brought his dad out, and like I hung out with him and his dad. It's just a cool thing. Like you never feel uncomfortable. It's not like a blind date or anything. It's like you've known these people for like years. It's so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. When I went to Heroes this year, the first person in the community I met was Roscoe. Roscoe and his dad. We
Nice.
were going in getting our badges the first day, and
Oh,
then
okay.
so yeah, no, dude, everything you said about Roscoe, dude, that's spot on, man. That guy is amazing, dude, in the community. So
Yeah, and
lucky.
he's funny too. He's a funny
Yeah,
guy.
he is.
He's cool. And what's funny is like you say that, like, you walk in and you meet somebody, but like you'll walk in and you'll just hear somebody like scream your name like from across the way, and you're like, and you turn and it's like you know the person, but you've never seen him in person, but you're like, hey, what's up?
Oh
You're
no,
always excited.
it's the best.
Yeah,
It's the best.
it is. It is an awesome feeling.
Dude, this interview is flying by. 30 minutes just went by. I just blinked, and I didn't even get. I'm not even halfway. I'm not even on my questions. I'm not even like halfway down. This is amazing. Uh, Shit, this is so cool. Okay, here's a question that I ask all my guests. It's not the easiest question I ask, um, but I'm gonna ask it. So, what comic book, cartoon, movie, or character in literature do you relate to the most?
Ooh. Um.
I told you it wasn't easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. It's not an easy one. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I think the very first Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi directed Spider-Man, I think that is one that I can always watch without um without being like I've seen this before or anything like that. The Tobey Maguire, and it's just the experience. I would say like I kind of had the a similar trajectory, I think, to Spider-Man, and that's kind of what it is, what it was for me. In school, um, I kind of bust into school, and I started off at one school, and my parents didn't think it was, a great school, so I bust into another school, kind of midway through my middle school education, and so there were kids who were there who were, grew up together, had their own culture and stuff, and here I was, the new guy
The new
coming in.
kid. Ooh,
Yeah, and I was a little bit of an outcast. I was into like the stuff like the sciences and stuff, and these guys were I don't want to demean them in any way, but they were into different things. Like they were probably more into like hanging out or what they were wearing, those kind of things. And I was all like science and comics and cartoons, and toys, whatever. I was still like a big kid, and they were like trying to be adults, and I'm like, I'm trying to take my time growing up. so
right.
So yeah, I just got that vibe, like the same thing with like Peter Parker and Spider Man. He's the sciencey guy, the kid. People make fun of him. Um, he had to grow into who he was, and when by the time that movie came out, I felt like I had grown into who I was because by that time I had already done the high school thing. I had been a or I was doing the high school thing. I was being a captain of the sports teams, whether it was baseball or football. I had matured a little bit more physically, kind of like Spider-Man goes through his transformation,
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
I had started to. I still had the geeky tendencies. Don't get me wrong. Like I was still reading comics. I was still loving some nerdy stuff, but I had also started to get comfortable in my skin in some ways, and
Yeah, that's
so
good. Yeah,
yeah. And so Spider-Man, when that movie came out, man, I had chills with that. I was like, oh man, this feels like
you can relate.
relate. Yeah, it feels like a story that could be based on actual
That's
events.
dope.
So
That's dope.
yeah, so that's I would have to say like that first Spider-Man, the Sony, Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, that's my it.
Wow,
That's my
great answer. Great answer.
thank you.
So, as far as like your comics, so do you have comics? Do you have comics from when you were a little kid?
I still have some comics from when I was a little kid. Um, so I have a decent collection from when I was a kid, but I don't have all my comics. Like they were at my parents' house. They would move, the whole box disappears thing. But
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
it is, and it was like the good box. It was the box with like the ones,
It was a good boss.
and then
Uh,
and then the ones that were left over were like, they were the ex. Not that they're horrible comics, but they weren't the ones that I considered like the most valuable in my collection or the ones that I had the most.
yeah.
Um, with that being said, I still do have my first Wally the Wizard #1. so,
Shit. Let's
so
go.
yeah,
Let's
so
go.
and yeah, so I did find a couple of them. I have like the Toxic Avenger #1. So I mean, mixed in with the ones that like, so they still have some meaning to me. Right? So like the
So,
Wally was probably my first purchase with a couple of other books. So yeah, I still have some of my kitty books. Yeah.
that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, no, I so my wife and I we moved, um, but we kept this house. So we rented this house out. So we had kind of like a storage closet in where we were living. We were living in an apartment while we were renting our house out, and I had the good box in that storage closet. Someone broke into that closet and took it. Um, but yeah, so dude. I think everyone has a story like that. You know,
Yeah, just
so
this the good
it
book.
is what it is, though. You know what I mean? You move on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as long as you have your health at the end of the day, it's kind of what matters. You can kind of replace the books, especially as you get older. It's
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
what it
and
is.
dude, there was a lot of times where we're gonna go back to the pandemic. So when your comic book store finally reopens,
Mhm.
did you guys had to do the mask thing?
Yeah, yeah. We had to wear the masks, which might have been kind of why I kept doing the YouTube thing after we went back, because you go into the store and you're wearing the mask and it's fine, but you're talking, it's kind of a little muffled.
Can't understand what they're saying. Like what?
Exactly. Yeah. So you can't get into anything too intricate. Everybody's, like everybody's a little like germs.
Oh, I remember. Oh man, they were like phobia,
Yeah.
And the thing is, at the time, I don't know if they limited how many people could go in at a time. I think it was
Yep.
like 5 people at a time, and it was like there'd be a line out there. Everyone had masks, but everyone needed their comics. You needed that.
Yeah.
Oh man, that
So
was a
yeah, they did that at both my. So I have two LCSs I go to, and during the pandemic, when everything started reopening, right? I was working from home probably 4 days a week, and maybe going in once
holy.
once
Yeah, yeah,
once.
yeah. My wife did that.
Yeah, and so on Wednesdays, I usually just didn't work on a Wednesday. That was like a day off. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I would go to both, and yeah, they would make you wait at the door. One was a little smaller than the other, so one would only let in like 2 or 3 people at a time. Yeah, the other one would let in like maybe like 8 people, but they would have lines. They had taped out lines on the floor, and so you couldn't be on the same line as somebody. So if somebody was on one line. Yeah,
Ah,
they would like
doesn't that
switch.
seem like a science fiction movie, like a Twilight Zone? Because just to think about what we did back in the day, I'm like, oh my god, we had to do all that stuff. That's craziness.
Yeah,
Wow,
and they every place had like the glass partitions and stuff.
I don't miss none of that. I don't miss that.
Yeah, I don't miss that either. Like at the register, they had glass hanging, and
Yeah, no, I remember that. That was a wild time. Hey, so what are your LCSs? What are the LCSs that you go to?
so what the one that's closest to me is Red Shirt Comics.
Okay,
It's in Port Jefferson, New York. So that's in Long Island. So I originally grew up in the city, but now I live on Long Island. So
nice.
yeah, I'm a little bit more suburban, if you will, but it's cool.
Good stuff.
Um,
What was it called again?
a red
Right.
shirt. So
Shout out to Red Shirt Comics.
Star Trek,
Oh
you
yeah,
got
Red
the
Shirts.
red
Yeah.
shirt. So
So, Red Shirt Comics in Long Island.
in Long Island, yeah, it's Port Jefferson, Long Island. So that the guy there, Josh, super helpful, super knowledgeable. He's a cool dude. Um, he kind of runs a one man show. He has like two other people will help him, but they're never really all working at the same time. So Josh, family guy too, has like 2 kids, but he's there Monday through Friday, running the store. None of the weekends. He's got guys who alternate. But they're a really cool group of people to hang out with and go there, and they kind of provide me with the stuff. Excellent deals too. Like if you have like 10 pulls, now I get it. 10 pulls is kind of a lot of books to pull comic wise, but he'll give you like 40% off supplies.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
you can,
That's a good.
yeah,
That's a good discount.
yeah, that's like I'm like, how are you not losing money?
Yeah. How are you in business still? Holy
Yeah,
moly, that's really good.
yeah, so the 40% discount, like sometimes I won't buy, like I'll desperately need bags and boards, and I'm like, I'm not getting it till I get to Red Shirt. Like I'm not paying full price.
Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah,
That's excellent.
exactly. And then my other my other shop is Fourth World Comics, and that's over in Smith, and that's Long Island too, Smithtown, Long Island. They're a little bit bigger of a shop. They are Terrence runs it. His dad used to own it, so it's a family business as well. Really cool. They have signings. When I talk about like some of my videos, I go into like I got 50-cent books. 99% of the time, my 50-cent books are coming from their 50-cent bin, and I found some really good books in there. So I found like the first Kyle Rayner Green Lantern in the 50-cent bin. Like it doesn't matter if that's a $10, $20 book. 50 cents, grabbing it all day. So
yeah, man.
I found the first cover, second appearance of Usagi Yojimbo in their bin. So
50 cents?
For 50 cents. It's like it's a couple $100 book. During the pandemic, it was crazy.
Was your hand shaking? The thing is, being out here in California, we do have LCSs, man, but they're picked clean, dude. They're picked clean. Yeah. And then when I do find something like that, and my hand's shaking, I'm looking around like, is this happening? Is this happening to me? Yeah. This is too good to be true.
Play it cool. Play cool.
Yeah. Don't make eye contact. Don't look at nobody.
Exactly. Don't be suspicious. Awesome. Don't be no, but yeah. When I found that book, I didn't realize what I had, but I was like, oh, Usagi Yojimbo, people like it. I'm gonna pick this up. It looked like a book, it looked like a older-ish book. So I was like, you know what, 50 cents, keep it, see what we got. And then I got home and I found out what it was. And man, I was like, oh snap. So I when I got it, originally when I got it, it was during the pandemic, so everything was sky high. Yeah. So when I first checked the price on it, I think it was like people were saying it was like a $700 book or something like that. I was like, damn. I didn't sell it back then. Now it's probably about a $300-$400 book, but it's still like I was like,
yeah, you bought 50 cents. So see, right here, Will, he's proof that you need to be going through the long boxes, the short boxes in your LCS, because you never know what you're gonna find.
You'll find, sometimes you'll find something. I mean, especially like some of the bigger stores, like unless they're like a Midtown Comics that has like a staff like 50 people. I feel like a lot of these stores don't have the staff to go through thousands of comics constantly to see what they have in there and then reprice everything, right? So as long as you're not going to one of those stores where there's no price on the comic and
I knew what you were gonna say. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna go there. And then you get up there and they're looking on their phone or they're opening up. Well, you would hope they open up a price guide. I'm cool with the price guide, but if they look on their phone, I'm like, because I've been to a place like that, and it's like, you know what? That's not cool.
Yeah. So I don't need the up to the minute price right now. So and it's a waste of your time too. Like if you're bringing up like 10, 20 books, like come on, I don't have time for you to like price out each one and figure it out. And then are you using like the most recent purchase, or are you just I don't have time.
Exactly. But you know what? That's the thing too. It's like like you said, not every LCS has the staffing to go through every little nook and cranny. Mm-hmm. But the part where you're not pricing it, you go up to the counter and they're pricing it at the counter. Not cool. That's an LCS that I would typically avoid.
Me too. Hardcore. But just one last note about Fourth World. Again, they're excellent guys. Big store there, and they're like my variant, like harder to find book shop. So I'll reach out to them when there's like something, and they're cool too. I don't know if you remember, they did a 616 day a couple months ago, where they literally sent like one package to every store, had like 5 or 6 comics in it, and I had no idea what it was. And I reached out to them and I said, "Hey, are you guys doing 616 day?" Like I heard about it like 2 days ago, and they're like, "No, we don't even know what you're talking about." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then like 30 minutes later, the owner like texts me and he's like, "Hey man, I got the box with the 616 comics." He's like, "If you want to see them, come on in. I'll hold them for you." And I was like, "Oh, cool." Yeah. So I drove down and he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "These are them." And it was like literally like 5 covers or 4 covers. And I was like, "Where's the rest of them?" And he's like, "Oh no, it was like a box like this thin. They only gave me one of each." So I was like, "Oh," so I was like, "How much you charging? Like, what are they, $10, $20 each?" And he goes, "No, you can have them." And he just gave me the comics, like one per store, just gave me all of them. And I was like,
Customer for life.
yeah,
Customer for life.
exactly. So
You know.
I
Yeah.
pull like I give them the bigger business when so I have my red shirt is kind of like my daily pulls, with the sweet discount on the supplies.
40% off.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I need a bigger book or a variant or a ratio or something, I go to Fourth World or even a hard to find like they have a really big selection of like indie books. So even if it's an indie book, I go to them for indies too.
Dope, dope. So
But I'm
okay,
lucky.
so as far as shows, as far as Comic Cons,
Yeah,
what Comic Cons have you gone to? I know we mentioned a couple.
yeah.
Um, maybe there might be some that you didn't mention. So you've been to Heroes, you've been to New York.
Been to
Is there others
Heroes.
you been to?
Been to New York years ago. I had gone to Terrificon. That's in
Oh,
Connecticut.
that's
Yeah.
on my bucket list too.
So I've heard good things about it lately. Like I went years ago. It was still good, but I hear like they're getting even more people to come now. So it's getting bigger. So the line I heard to get inside this year was a little bit longer than it's been in previous years. So I think now it's really
The
starting.
word's out. The word's
Yeah,
out.
exactly. It's starting to catch traction.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of little cons out here. So like there's like there's a lot of different groups. Like our fire department does one. There's like the Knights
Oh,
of
nice.
Columbus does it. So there's all those things. I went to Baltimore one year for like a day. Got to meet Walt
Baltimore Con.
Simonson.
Yeah.
So that's a cool one. Now I need to hit up the West Coast and do like WonderCon, and then there's Emerald City Con, and there's obviously there's San Diego Comic Con. So
Yeah.
those are some of the bigger ones. This year actually, so 2 years ago, a buddy of mine had an extra pass and invited me to go, and I was like, oh,
To
that's
where?
dope. But I
Which
was
one?
like, San Diego Comic
Oh,
Con.
okay.
So I was like, that's a hard one sometimes to get a pass, right? So
Yeah. Really
I was
tough.
like, man, I want to go, but I had work, so work wasn't the big thing, but it was like now I got to get a flight, and I was like hotel room,
You got a pocket money.
yeah, and it was so late in the game that I was like, I can't just do this like spur of the moment unless I'm flying in, hitting the con, heading back to the airport, and flying out. Like
Yeah.
there was no legit, and the other
No
thing
planning.
was
Yeah.
it wasn't just price; it was that everybody was just booked. So now we're talking about flying in, getting a room a couple of miles away. So now I got to rent a car,
Yeah, I know. I
and then
know. It's a thing.
just to come drive in, pay for parking. Like I've been to San Diego, I don't even know where you park. Like, like
Yeah.
everything is
It's
like
definitely a challenge out here. Especially like downtown. Man, there's free parking downtown. Those two things, yeah, that's you can't even say that in the same sentence these days. It's like everywhere
right.
you go, you have to pay. You know.
Yeah, I knew there was like cheaper parking because I guess I had Googled it or whatever. But it took me like 30-35 minutes just circling the streets to find that one spot where I can get that cheap parking, like or the free parking after whatever hour it was free. So I was ready to sit in the car and just wait. but but yeah, so I almost went to San Diego Comic Con, but unfortunately logistics kept me from going. But just for the fact that I could get a free ticket, I really tried. I was like,
Well, dude, I'm telling you right now. If you ever get to come out here, I'll show you a good time, man. We'll have some fun. We'll get
awesome.
some beers. Well, we'll hit some spots up. The thing with the Comic Con, I said it before, man. It is a shit show, but it's the most fun you're probably ever gonna have. Everything that you love is gonna hit you in the face. It's just
Right.
it's something else. What I told the other day. I said, it's the Super Bowl of Comic Con is what I said.
Damn. Yeah.
It's something. And you know what? You probably experienced the same thing in New York Comic Con because you know what I mean. As far as the East Coast, that's the one. and I know you're going to be going there in 3 weeks.
October.
You said two,
Yeah,
3.
it's I believe the first day is it's the 8th or the 9th. I forget which day.
Nice.
It starts on a Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it
that's
should
on
be
my
the
bucket list, guys. That's on my bucket list. One of these, God willing, one of these days. That'd be fun.
yeah.
But what
It's a
is your
big,
favorite? What's your favorite Comic Con?
oh man. So it's a hard. Well, it would have to be honestly. It would have to be between Heroes and New York Comic Con. And now, when I say this, I'm gonna probably get some backlash. But for me, it's New York Comic Con, and it's because it was the one that indoctrinated me into going to cons. So um,
Yep.
it was I forget what year it was. It was like at least 10 years ago. Um, a buddy of mine, his friend was a vendor, and so he said, "Hey, you want to go to New York Comic Con?" And at that point, like I was just kind of getting back into comics. You know, everybody goes through ebbs and flows, and at some point in your life, you're like, comics. I can't collect them as hardcore for whatever reason. You go to school, got a job that keeps all your time, whatever it is. Um, but I was kind of out of the game, and I was like, oh no, yeah. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go. So I go with them, and then his boy gave me a vendor pass. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I went that day, and I went back the next day. Now, this is where I was kind of wrong, was because I got the vendor pass, and I was then supposed to supply them with meals during the day, right? So I was supposed to do breakfast and lunch, and
Yeah.
then help for dinner. So I did the breakfast thing, and then I'm walking around the con, and there's a Todd McFarlane signing.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, oh, cool. So I'm on that line. So then, yeah, so then I'm walking around, and I get Todd to sign. It was like Batman Spawn. I don't know why I had that book on me, but I had it. It was him and Frank Miller, the first one.
ooh,
Yeah. So then I'm walking around, and there's like a Lionsgate booth at the con. So they do a lot of pop culture and movies, and I see a picture on one of their screens flash, and it's Frank Miller, and then it just says autograph, but there's no day, no time, no anything. So I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting at the screen, and I'm watching, like, they're doing the 300 clips and Sin City clips and all this other stuff, like other Frank Miller stuff. And then it flashes again, Frank Miller, autograph, signature, and then disappears. And I'm like, there's no info. So I go, yeah. So I go up to the booth guy, and I'm like, hey, I see it says autograph, Frank Miller, like signature. I was like, what's the deal with that? And he's like, go talk to Maria over there at the corner of the booth, and Maria will let you know. So I'm like,
what?
and that's it.
That sounds shady.
Yeah. So I'm like, the hell is going on? And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm like, I'm at a con full of thousands of people. They're not kidnapping me here. So I walk over and I go, hey, Maria, I heard and before I could say anything, she has her hand in her back pocket. She goes, like, snaps the ticket and, like, just hands it to me, and then, like, turns and, like, walks away. And I was just like, what is that? So
Wow.
I look at the ticket, and it's like, this ticket entitles you to an autograph from Frank Miller at this booth today at like 3 p.m. And I was like, you guys couldn't just say this? like I had to go through all this stuff.
So secretive. That's dope, though. That's
just to get this. So yeah. So then I end up getting an autograph from Frank Miller. So I'm on that line. So
I know where the story's going. Will, I know where the story's going. But please continue.
Oh no, so I get both autographs. So by this time though, it's probably like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and the guys who gave me like the pass are just like, where the fuck are you? And where's my lunch? Like,
I knew that's where the story was gonna go. That's funny as shit.
Yeah, so I gave them.
That's awesome.
I mean, I ran real quick, got them some food, brought it back. They were mad. I mean, they were mad. They were hangry, right? Because they're working, and they gave me this ticket, and I had one job, and I'm out there getting autographs. And then I show up with the food, and I have the badge on, and I had Todd McFarlane like sign the badge, and like I have the food, and I'm like, hey guys, and I was like, I got Todd to sign the badge, and like they looked disgusted, like they grabbed the food and were gone. I'm surprised they didn't rip the badge like off of me.
That's
It was
an amazing
bad.
story. Thank you for sharing that. That's so cool.
But that was my first foray, and like since then I've been going every year. There's only been 1 year I didn't go, but it was 1 year nobody went because they just didn't have it. So,
Yeah, no, that's dope, man. Oh,
but
dude, yeah, that's on my bucket list. New York Comic Con is one. And you know the thing is, my wife, she's been to New York twice, New York City twice on business. I've been to upstate New York. I've been to Cooperstown, but I've never been to New York City.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It's
that's
an experience.
oh, dude, the New York City, New York Comic Con, all that. When that finally happens for me, it's gonna be an amazing time. Uh, okay, so we're shooting for like an hour. I know I told you, oh, it's only gonna be 20-30 minutes. We're
Yeah.
about to do an hour. I'm gonna ask a few more questions, and we're gonna wrap this up. Will, okay?
All right.
If you have any superpower, what would that one superpower be?
That's a good one. It would probably be. I'm gonna go with flight.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I like to.
That's
I like
a
to.
popular one. Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to play?
I mean, come on, you seen the price of flights? So,
Are you scared of heights?
I am. I am scared of heights, so I think also just being able to fly would minimize that because I'm scared. I'm not. I don't think I'm as scared of heights as I am of falling. So
Yeah.
if I could,
Not fall?
nullify
You
the
good to
fall,
go.
I'm fine. Yeah, yeah. If I know
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hit the ground, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, because flight is a very popular one, but I always follow up with, "Are you afraid of heights?" And majority of the people that said flying said, "Yes, I am afraid of heights." But I think it's just like anything, like riding a skateboard. You know, you practice enough, and like you said, if you know you're not going to fall, then you're good to go, right?
Yeah. So I've done like heights, and I've worn like the safety harness and stuff like that. And if I'm in the harness, I don't feel that nervous. But if I'm at a height and it's like an open area, like a bridge or something, and you could just
Feel that breeze, the wind.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what gets me sometimes though. So yeah, I feel like if I know I'm not gonna go splat, I'm cool. It's more the fall than the heights that get me.
Have you done bungee jumping?
I have never done bungee jumping.
Have you
Yeah.
done zip line? Have you
I've
done
done zip lining.
Okay, I've done a
I've
zip
done-
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
zip lines are fun. Yeah, again, like it's the fall. Like bungee is a fall. Zip lining is like you're not really falling. It's an incremental decline. So that is anything that requires me to go like from here to here in like terminal velocity or something. I'm
Well,
like time out.
I've done both. I've bungee and I've done a zip line. Okay, so the funny part, the zip line, like kind of like you said, you get on a zip line, you go across. It's kind of like, oh, this is cool. The bungee was pretty frightening. It was funny because in my head when I did the bungee, I felt like, I was like Bruce Willis. Like I just got on the platform and I jumped off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was a video of me. I actually trip on my own feet. I actually trip. I trip off the ledge. In my head, I looked like I jumped like Bruce Willis. No,
Yeah.
I actually lost my balance and tripped on my own feet, falling off the side, screaming my head off. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh man, they always say like your perception sometimes doesn't match reality.
Exactly. I was like, man, that was badass. I go, what? You tripped on your own feet.
Yeah.
What are some of your current reads? What are you reading currently, comic book wise?
Nice. So I'm reading the Energon verse. So all the
Nice,
books
love
in
it.
there. Yeah, those are really cool. I'm reading Spider-Man. I'm actually liking the new Joe Kelly run. Like it seems
Okay.
to have stabilized. I'm reading the Ultimate stuff, mostly Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Wolverine, and the Ultimates. So, and then when I can catch up on them, you know, I'll catch Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Black Panther. And then I'm reading the Absolute series. So Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, and Absolute Martian Manhunter, which just ended, but I think they're going to bring it back. So they'll run it back. So yeah, those are pretty much the ones I look forward to the most. And then I'm reading Exquisite Corpses, which is a new James Tynion.
The fourth?
Yeah, the fourth. Yeah, so that's...
Did they do a tour? They have to do a tour. They did a tour, right? They went to New York. Wait, because they were in San Diego during San Diego Comic-Con.
Right, they did the Exquisite Corpses tour. I think they did have a New York stop.
Midtown. Was at Midtown. I have the poster.
Got it. Yeah. So I didn't actually make it out to that, but I should have. But
Exquisite Corpses, yeah, dope. But dude, that's such a good read. Yeah.
That's a good one. And yeah, I mean those are kind of the core books, and then I do collect Spawn. I know you're a big Spawn fan.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I'm trying to collect the whole thing. Yeah, the full run.
The full
one
through.
Yeah.
I have like 1 through 11, and then I jump up to like 30 something, and then from there I'm like in the 50s, and then from there I'm like in the hundreds, and then from there I'm like 2 something. Like there were just periods where I just didn't collect it.
I got a lot of that. I got a lot of all of that.
Yeah. And then the ones I missed are like the most, like the ones that like the print count is like, you know, the least amount, and like they're super expensive to get. So I'm just like, maybe one day we'll work on it.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah. Gunslinger Spawn is I'm a big fan of that one. Hobby over there, you know, that's a fun read. And then I just picked up what is it, Bloodletter, and that one's interesting. Spawn's actually in that book, but it's somebody who knew Spawn as Al Simmons, and then later finds out that Al Simmons is Spawn, and like they've got like a blood vendetta against this guy, like vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
So that seems like a pretty decent read, just for that, because there's been a ton of Spawn books that came out that don't have Spawn in it, and I'm like,
oh yeah, no, yeah, there's they're trying to build up that universe. Tom McFarlane, you know, there's Spawn, and then there's Scorched and Gunslinger, and yeah, they got all kinds. Even they got what's the one, Rat City,
Rat City
in the future.
Yeah,
so
you got
cool.
Sam
There's
and
everybody. Yeah.
So, yeah, there's so many. I don't like. I mean, he caught fire with the whole 300 stuff, right? And then from there, I think the readership picked up, and it's just, I think he's just churning them out, trying to get that media empire going. I think he wants to do another Spawn film. So
yeah, I'm crossing my fingers on that. You know, man, you said something earlier. I was going to say something about a movie, but I don't know. It's escaped me. But okay. As far as like, what are some of your favorite artists and writers that you have met?
So I've met Scott Snyder a couple of times. So he's pretty cool. I have a membership to his thing, Black Jacket. He's the only guy who I have any membership to anything they do. But
what is it called?
What's that?
What is it called?
Black. I think it's called Black Jacket.
Black Jacket.
Yeah, and I've met him enough times that usually when I see him now, he's like, "Hey, what's up?" He doesn't know my name, but he's like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "How you doing?" So I'm like, "Cool." Greg Capullo, because it was really the Snyder Capullo Batman run that kind of really got me back into comics. Like before that, I was like, picking up an issue here or there, getting a trade, and then I started reading that with the New 52, and that kind of sunk its teeth into me. And that's when I started getting like a pull. So I was like, I can't miss an issue of Batman. So I started pulling that, that was where it all went. Some people would say downhill, or you could say uphill, but that's when the ball got rolling. On getting really back into comics was with that. Other creators, I like Tynion. I never know how to say his name. The fourth, James. He's a cool guy. I just read an article with Jorge Jimenez where he's like, that guy like never has a bad day. And like every time I've met him, he's just been like super cordial, super awesome, some super awesome guy. I mean, being in New York and going to New York Comic Con, I've been uh, I've been really lucky to see a lot of artists. So I've met Todd McFarlane. Um, I met Peach Momoko, and what's funny is like she doesn't really she speaks some English, but not great. But you can still be like, "Hey, I love your work," and she'll be like, "Thank you," you know, and you could still kind of be casual with that. Um, Chip Zdarsky's a funny guy. And so I mean, Al Ewing. So my friends, I have a funny story. Al Ewing was walking the floor at New York Comic Con, and so it was Al Ewing was walking, and I was walking the other way. But I had just the day before that I had met Al, and we had a talk at his booth. So he was walking by, and I was like, Al, just to be like, what's up? And he comes over and he's like, hey, he's got like a British accent. I do a horrible British accent, but it's like, hey, how are you? What's up? How you been? Long time no see. And I was like, I mean, I saw it yesterday, but he clearly thought I was somebody else. But I was like, oh man, I was like, I'm doing great. I'm having a really good time. And I'm like, so how's your con going? And he's like, oh, it's been phenomenal so far. He's like, how about for you? And I was like, oh, it's been great. He's like, you have any plans for today? And I'm like, not really, just walk around. And I'm like, I have no idea who he thinks I am. So I go, hey, Al, I know you're a busy guy. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I mean, you got to go sign and enjoy. And, you're probably walking around right now, want to enjoy it. So I was like, have a great day, buddy. And I slapped him on the back and I'm like, I'll talk to you later. And I just kept going. And my friend runs up to me and he's like, what? Did you just big time Al Ewing? Like, you left him behind. He was like ready to talk to you. And you're like, nah, I got to go, bro. And I was like,
that's incredible. No,
I was like,
the thing is, it's not like you were respecting his time.
Yeah.
I know you were making it sound like, but it's funny how what your friends saw and what you were trying to do. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. I was like, he's got stuff to do. I don't know what to say. I just saw him the other day. I don't want to be like, hey, whoever you think I am, I'm not that dude.
Not that guy.
So I was just like, let's just end it here and let's go. And like, no feelings should be hurt. Like, hey, Al, man, you got stuff to do. I'll talk to you later.
Well, he was the guy that he was one of the last guys that I read when I used to like collect like all the current X-Men. I don't anymore. I've stopped collecting it, but Al Ewing stuff on the recent X-Men stuff that I was reading was the best. When he stopped writing X-Men, I was kind of like, God.
He's good. Like there's some things like a lot of the stuff he writes. It's easy to enjoy. Like he's got a certain way of writing that's just like accessible and fun. So
yeah, it's definitely. So, are there artists and writers that you haven't met yet that you are looking forward to meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of them. What's this? Kevin Cooley, he's Delato. There's a bunch of like these European and
they don't come to America very often. They don't. Yeah.
No, so it's rough. Those are some guys I can name off
Nice.
of that.
Cool.
There was one more that I was thinking. What's his face? He does all the negative space variants. JTC, John Tyler Christopher. Those are some guys that I'd really like to spend some time with and meet. But yeah, a lot of the old school guys, the guys who live out here, I see them all the time just because they're at the con every year. So it is those international artists that really are the ones that I'd like to see Peach again too. I mean, I know I said I've met her before, but I think she had a really bad experience one year at Comic-Con with like a
Tom McFarlane. Yeah, that Tom McFarlane cover that she did. Ooh,
that was a C. Actually, me and I know you interviewed Durs recently.
I did.
Collecting Durs, Adam. Yeah, and me and him were in line together, and it was the
You
craziest
told me
thing.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at one point, we're online, we're together, and then like the line like swung or whatever. Like this guy comes out and he's real like shady and real aggressive, and we're like, do we believe him or not? But we were so far on the line that we were like, all right, we'll take a shot, like believing this guy. So the guy was like, listen, guys, you're getting on this line. He's like, this is not a line. No way in heck is this a line. He's like, the line is going to start over here. So he's like, in like 5 minutes, somebody from the con is going to come and say, this is the line. And everybody here is going to run over here.
Oh.
So he's like, you can believe me and move, or you can stand here and not. But he's like, this is not going to be the line. And we're like, why would he help us though? We're like,
out of everybody, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, I was like, we have nothing to lose. Like, we're back here. If we go over there, we're gonna end up in a better spot. So we're like, all right. So we start to move, and then like it's the whole pack mentality, and then a couple of other people start to move, and we get there, and then sure enough, somebody's like, all right, line starts over here, and everybody's like it's just a sea of humanity, and it's like, oh. So somehow we ended up in like the first 100 people or whatever, but like it was crazy. We went from like 10, like the 10th and 11th people online to like 110. Like just the wave of humanity just shot us back. Insane. And then people with friends, jumping on. So it was crazy. And then we're online, and like the whole thing happened. So we were together, and then Durs ends up like 10, 20 people ahead of me, and I end up back here. And he's like, you good back there? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm cool. And like we had a thing, like if he got there, like they were running low on books, he was going to pick up my books anyway. So yeah, I'm like, I'm good back here, whatever. And then like it's all like this. And at some point I realized like I didn't even have to stand. Like I just kind of leaned over, and like all the pressure was off my feet. Like I was just in there like trapped. I was like, oh, cool.
People kept you up.
They kept me up. Yeah, they kept me up.
I saw a picture, and it's people looking this way, but it was kind of like 5 wide. It like 5 or 6 people wide. It was
really wide.
was
like we took up most of that. Like they were trying to get it to 2, and it wasn't happening. Like we were taking up.
It didn't look like no 2. It looked just like a sea of people.
It did. And so at one point, I don't even know how the line was moving, but at one point, then I'm like, getting closer to the Durs, and I'm getting closer, and then we're like shoulder to shoulder again, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And then like 5 minutes later, like now he's pulling behind me, and I have no idea, and he's like trying to keep his hand on me, and he's like getting pulled back, and he's like, Will. so I had like, so then again, I was like, awesome. I got you. So Durs is pretty busy. He does all his whatnots and all that stuff. So we were on the line now for like 90 minutes. I felt like I got the book shortly after he left. But he's like, hey man, I got a show to do. He's like, can you hook me up? Like, and I was like, I got you. Like, we got on the line together. We said, if one of us gets up there.
Yeah.
So I hooked him up. He was able to jump off the line. I got my books. And that the end was history. But man, it was. There was a guy next to me who's like back gave out, and he was just like, I got to get off the line. Like, and I was like, yeah.
Man, and especially who's spending all that time already in line, you got to step out. Oh, that's rough.
And then he had to step off. Yeah, because I think he was getting back spasms or something. I was like, dude. I was like, just hang here. Like, just don't even stand on your own feet. Like the crowd is holding you up. But he was a little bit more on the outside. I was dead centered. Like I would say like I was never really that scared per se, but if there was ever a time that I was like, oh, I can get like crushed or something like that, I was like, that was it. That was that moment. I was like, it got kind of real. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That was for as insane as people say that line was, I was in it, and it was pretty insane. Like, legit, there was some fear. Like there's a legitimately like a small amount of fear that was like this.
Well, it sounded like everything worked out, so that's cool. That's cool. But I know that's an experience that you'll never forget.
Oh, never. If you look on Instagram, you'll see anytime somebody posts that book, Durs will usually say something and he'll at me, and then I'll have a response, and then we just like have a little conversation about it. Like it is something that will live on in
Well,
infamy.
I ended up getting that book. I had to go through, the internet to get it, but I did get my hands on it. And but yeah, that's like that book will be always infamous for that time period. You know what I mean? The Peach Momoko, um, because I always said it was a combination of a Tom McFarlane book, desirable Tom McFarlane book, um, um, a little disorganization. I mean, they could have planned it better, and then the greed. There's
Yeah,
the greed element.
right.
So, but I
Because they had Todd book, Momoko cover, autograph, hot autograph. Like
yeah yeah
it, yeah,
most
it
definitely.
was insane.
All right. So okay, I think we hit the record. We're almost going to.
Nice.
This is awesome. Two questions, and then we're gonna wrap
Okay.
this up. Will again, bro. It's like we've known each other forever. It's weird. It's so easy to talk to you. Gosh,
Yeah,
I'm having a good time. Thank you.
thank you.
Wow. Where do you see yourself in 5 years in the hobby?
Ooh, yeah. So that's a good one. That's like the job interview question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Uh,
It
so
is. It is.
yeah, I've started to transition a little bit, and I don't see myself becoming like a sailor per se, but I've gotten to the point now where I'm starting to let the hobby fund itself. And I'm not talking about like eBay or anything like that, but I've been doing these kind of flea market, yard sale things that are community based. Like so, the public library will have it, and it's or some community center will have it, but it's usually like to kind of support the community. So
Yeah.
there's certain raffles and entry fees or whatever, or percentage you can donate, stuff like that. So I've been doing those, and I've been doing well. Like I throw out a few variant comics and some dollar books, and I mean I'm not making a killing, but I think I just did one recently. I was there for like 3 hours and I made $300. Right, that's $100 an hour.
Let's go. Let's
I'm
go.
not so then I can turn around now and I can use that money to buy my next book or whatever. So that's kind of I have a lot of books, honestly, and I know there are people out there with more than me, but I'm close to like 9,000 like books, like comics. So that's a lot of
Is it
storage.
offsite or is it all like right here, like within reach, or do you have an offsite where you keep your comics?
So I'd say I have about I have yeah no so I have about maybe 2K close. Mostly it's like the modern books because I take them, put them away, put them in a box, and
Mhm.
they're in a box. And then if I go to my storage location, then throw them in there. But
Yeah,
it's a lot of books, honestly.
that
It's a
is a
lot of
lot of books. That
when
is a
when
lot
I
of
move
books.
when I move, like there's like a run, it's like a comic run.
Yeah,
So So what I'm looking to do is in 5 years is get a lot more of the keys, the bigger keys, the blue chip keys, the older books, the copper, the bronze, the silver age stuff. Not so much into golden age, but who knows? But I'm looking to grab the books that mean more to me. And
yeah.
so 5 years from now, I can see that collection being a lot smaller, but also having a lot more value, both personally and financially. Just getting the books that were harder to obtain. If you didn't grab them when you were a kid or when they were first on the shelf, you're like, oh, now, as a school kid, you're like, there's only so many lawns I can mow. And when you're in college,
Right.
you're like I could barely pay for my textbook. So, you know, um, but I definitely see myself again paring down the collection and just having a nicer collection. And maybe doing something like Rob does. Having the books in the
Oh
back,
my gosh, that wall. Woo.
but having that wall of comics.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's where I'm aiming for in 5 years, is to have the bigger books, and I think also to still be here because there's a lot of friends I've met and are still meeting on
Yeah.
YouTube that, like, I don't see myself giving that up. It's too much fun. So
Yeah, no, and that's the thing too. I know if you get to a certain point, you can make a living doing this, but
mhm.
the thing is that the reason why I'm doing it is because I'm having fun. Just like you're saying, it's just
Yeah,
you know, yeah, no, it's just great. YouTube's great. YouTube, IG, community in general, it's been good to me. All
yeah.
right, so last question. Last question. Last question. And we might have just answered that question with what we were just saying, but what's the best part of the hobby for you?
Man, the best part of the hobby, like I think it's like you said, is the friends. Because like I was saying, like New York Comic Con is my favorite because it's the first one that got me into everything. But what I also forgot to mention is I've had for probably the last 8 years, I've had a crew of friends who are New York based. A couple of times, they've helped me and jumped on my shows and stuff like that. But they're just guys who love comics. Like, they're not in it for anything else, but just they're my friends, and we all love comics. So when I'm hanging out with them, every day, New York Comic Con's 4 days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We get
Yeah,
there when it opens, and we leave when they kick us out. Like, we've never left early. Like, it's we go and we go hard, and then we pay for it, later in the week. And when your feet hurt and you're getting a cramp or
yeah,
whatever. But we're there. The only thing I would say that's changed over the years is we do we do get adult beverages a little bit more. So we'll stop for a beer along the way.
let's go.
Um, yeah, instead of snacking on granola bars or going to Dunkin' Donuts, like we'll leave and go to like a nice restaurant for lunch and then come back. So we are treating ourselves a little better these days, but
Yeah, yeah, man, that's good.
but
That sounds like a
yeah,
good time.
it
Yeah,
is. It's so good. But that's the thing is it's the friends, it's the camaraderie ship, and it's finding your tribe, finding your people who love the same thing you do. So
that's 100 right there, man. I love it. Great answer. So Will, before we get out of here, is there anything you want to plug? You want to shout out? The floor is yours.
thank you. All right, first off, I want to say Paul over here, awesome dude.
Thank
We texted a little bit today. We've been trying to get this going. And we met today, and this was like one of the most comfortable interview settings I've ever had. So I feel like we'd vibe real cool if we hung out. So if I'm ever over there, I'll hit you up. If you ever come this way, hit me up.
I will. Oh, dude, for sure,
So
for sure.
yeah,
That's gonna be awesome.
thank you. So yeah, I do my regular series on Mondays, Monday Night Raw books. Check that out. It's football season now, so I'm usually watching a little football while I'm doing the show. So I'm talking comics, but every once in a while I do go, hey man, the score right now is this, and this. It's third down, they're passing the ball, whatever, and then we get back to the comic talk. But it's a cool cool group that hangs there, cool group of cats over there. Um, and then Wednesdays I do New Comic Book Day. Why? With some comic news. So we talk a little bit in the beginning about some, like, I picked like two topics of stuff that's happening, pop culture, comic related, and then I go through the books I bought. And the reason the why is there is like, why did I buy this? Why am I buying modern books when there's so many cool, um, again, bronze, copper, silver age books out there that we could be shopping for. Um, but yeah, that's the why part of it. And then on Fridays and occasionally when I'm busy on Saturdays, then I go a little bit more in depth into the books I bought. So I do my New Comic Book Day haul plus review, where I try to give you a little bit about what each book is about without giving you too many spoilers. So I'm not trying to spoil the book for you, but I'm just trying to say, hey man, in this issue, these are the characters we have. This is the setting. This is the tone of the book. Here's who wrote it. Here's the artwork. If you like it, grab it. You got a guest appearance by this person. and oh man, it ends on a cliffhanger. But I don't show. A lot of times I won't even show or mention what that cliffhanger is. I'm like, if you want to know what it is, you go pick up the book. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing these days. So that's
Very
that's.
cool, dude. You're doing a bunch, man. You're doing good stuff.
And then I do have one more on Tuesdays.
Please.
Even though I've been doing Wednesday mornings lately, I do the new comic book day preview. So if you want to know what's coming out from where, I do some spotlight books, which are just books I'm loving that are coming out. I do some spec books. These are just books that, just being in the comic world for so long, I'm like, hey, if you want to take a shot at a book, I don't even buy. I'll be fully honest with you. All the books I'm say are possible spec books. I don't buy them. I don't buy every single book, but if I have the information, like if I see a book is trending in a certain direction, I say, hey, this might be something you want to look at. I do FOC for the next week. So we'll look at the books coming out next week, and then we do all the rest of the books coming out for the week. So that's the other show I do. So yeah. That's right.
Okay, everybody. I want to thank my guest, Will. Couple comics, dude. Look for his stuff. Look on IG. Look on YouTube. Look for his channels. Watch it. Sub him. Give him a like. Do all that good stuff. Leave a comment. But Will, dude, this is the longest interview I've had. Very
Wow.
excited. This will be played. Okay, so you were talking about Sunday football.
Yeah.
My conversation with the community was on Sundays, but now that it's football season, we
Right.
moved it to Mondays. So
Okay.
you're gonna be watching this the third Monday of October. Make sure you guys catch it. Again, thank you to my guest, Will. Bro, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
man. Appreciate your
This is
time.
awesome.
All right. As always, peace, happy collecting, and don't forget to support your LCS. All right, everyone, take care.